We've talked about independent and dependent variables. Our two variables are v and t. Which one is independent? What is the x value? V or t? It's t. How do you usually write an equation? You usually see it written like this, right? So the one that is outside is your y value, or your dependent variable, and the one that is inside the equation is the x variable, or the independent variable. So in this case, time is independent, and v is your y value, or dependent variable. So we're going to graph that. So we're going to go to Desmos, and we're going to enter, what was the equation? $20,000 minus 1250. Whoops. Yeah. Desmos. Oh my gosh. Do people have that? And if it doesn't pop up, just say equals y. And it should. Oh, sorry. X. Should be an X. Put X. There you go. And you're going to have to change your X and Y axes, but you can do that by zooming in and out using your fingers. All right? So it should look like this. If you zoom out enough.
Oh, wait, never mind. It did, but it's a straight line.
So straight, what is your Y axis? It probably says like 0 to 20 or something. What is your?
Mine's just a straight line.
Yeah, because, okay, so people, look at your y-axis. Does everybody see your y-axis? The vertical one. If it says 20, you're zoomed in too close. You've got to zoom out to like 1,000 or 20 or 10,000, 20,000. Keep going. It should look like this. And your x-axis should not be at the same numbers. It should be at 20.
Mine says 20,000, I think. Whatever is going on here.
Look at your x-axis. You're at 20 million. If you need to change just one axis, just use your fingers on that axis.
Mine is not like what?
You have to change your x-axis.
What? How did you do that?
Well, you just saw me do it. My fingers. Yeah, zoomed out actually.
Oh my god, Arby, what happened?
You get it?
Oh, wait, how would it not grab my phone? There we go. I got negative.
It's like a billion. People that are on their phones all the time, you guys don't know how to use your phone.
That works. I have to move it like this. So like, I just get 20 and then there.
This is a nightmare. It's even worse.
Do you see what I did? Okay.
It's a touch screen. Zoom in. Zoom out, sorry.
I was looking at all the pictures yesterday. I saw
Oh, well, that's your answer.
We're just zooming out for people.
I know, because apparently nobody can do it. It's 36 zeros after.
Lieutenant Day. Lieutenant Day.
Put the story about Missy, she died. I was like, she didn't know I was doing that at all. I was having fun. So she put it back and she was like, "Punch dead." Yes. There's people that I kept replying to my story asking if she was dead. Like, I thought it would be kind of obvious that she wasn't dead because I literally spelled it as angel instead of angel.
Did you guys get it?
I definitely would have typed more than that. Just like one sentence. Yeah. It's like the nicest picture ever. I thought it was funny. Why? Like, three people replied to it. Like, is she actually dead? I was like, no. Come on, you guys. You just said somebody died. Yeah, but my line's like, who's dead?
What do you expect?
Well, to be smarter.
I don't think your app works.
Wait, did I ever show you this? No, but I didn't see that picture. See? How the fuck did I do that? Yeah, like I just woken up and I was like, oh fuck, I put both my earrings in the same ear. Let's take a picture of that. Abby, you hit me right in the fucking nose. I was trying to hide. It's the same friend I have.
He like jumps in.
Well, I did this too.
What happened to you guys with people that have gone right now?
No, I didn't say that.
I don't know. Make sure. Yeah, make sure. Can you? One time, Kylie hit me in the knee and I kicked her in the back of the head. It was a trigger. I didn't do it on right and I have it. Looking right at the camera. How do I do it?
Janet will get scared.
He's just.
I taught her how to do
No, I didn't expect that. I'm so sorry. I think you even don't have it all. Just like, oh. That's what happens. Wait, my brain. Did I show you this? I showed you. Yeah, you showed me. I thought this was how dare you erase my arm? Oh my god.
We don't like that.
Oh my god, you're censoring my art? Oh, I did. No,
Okay. All right. We're going to answer these questions. Oh my gosh. This is a gong show. All right. So we can sketch the graph. We all have the graph. So what is if we're going to sketch it, if you click on the X and Y intercepts, it will tell you the coordinates. Okay? So the y-intercept has a coordinate of 0 and 20,000, and the x-coordinate has a 0 of 16 and 0. So if I mark 16, 20, let's see if I can draw a line here. There we go. Okay, so we get a straight line like that. Correct? We should label these axes. So what is on the x-axis? What variable? T, so time. In years. You have to put the you need to put the units. All right. What is on the vertical axes? The value of the car. Okay. In what units? Dollars. I'm just going to put the dollar sign. Okay, so we sketched the graph. There we go. Okay, calculate T intercepts. We've already done that. T intercept is 16 years. What does that represent? We've already talked about this. So last week, what does the T intercept in this case represent? What does this graph represent? Let's talk about that. It's the value of the car, right? In years. Okay. So what does 16 years represent? When it has 0 value. What does the V-intercept or the value intercept represent? What does 20,000 represent? Yeah, how much you sold it for. Cost of the car. Okay, we're not going to worry about D and E. What I want to talk about is the domain and range for the function. So looking either at the graph, what is the domain of this graph? What is the lowest x value that you can have? 0. What's the highest? 16. So 0 to 16 is your domain. So the domain would be 0 to 16. What's the range? What's the lowest value of the car? What's the highest? 20,000. So the domain is going to be, or the range is going to be 0, 20,000. And it's square brackets because you include both numbers, right? Okay, now I'm scared of this next one. All right, flip the page, please. Oh, okay. I need you. This is why I'm scared. We're going to enter this into Desmos. So what is your x value? What is your y value in this equation? Yeah, so this is what you're going to enter. Oh my gosh. Here we go, please. It's in your book. Do you want me to leave it up? There it is. Enter it in Desmos. There's a little squared button.
Can I just put like 6 X?
Yeah, you're supposed to put X. That's what I wrote it right there. Oh, it is a parabola.
How do I know where to stop when to say that? Yeah, which number do you want to be at?
So I want it.
How do I do X squared?
Well, okay, let's talk about this. There's a little button there for the squareds. Okay, did people get something like this? Okay, zoom in. You're probably zoomed way out. If it looks like, does yours look like that?
How do I do X squared?
A to the power of 2.
But then that's not X.
It means the exponent.
No, I'm on the opposite side. Why did I get to the opposite side? This doesn't make sense. What did I do wrong?
Oh, it's supposed to be plus, isn't
I
it?
literally did nothing wrong.
It's supposed to be that. I had a minus there. It was a plus.
What can I zoom in? I did nothing wrong.
Okay, mine's in a different place.
He's like, I don't care, and I'm like,
All right, do we have it? Oh my gosh.
I have it. I don't think that's true, mister. Yeah, no, never. Well, yeah,
All right. So, what is all this information? Why is this a parabola? Let's start with that. That is true. The exponent is 2, right? Well, it's not straight. That's why any exponent other than 1 will give you a curved graph. The exponent is 2. If we were to sketch this graph, let's go back to here. There we go. So our y-intercept is 12, and our x-intercept 7.5. We'll just call it 7.6, okay? So if we're going to sketch this, our y-intercept is 12, 7.6, and it looks like that. Okay, why did I cut off the graph? Like, why did I ignore all this stuff? Why did I ignore all this and all this down here? Well, what's the question asking? Well, but read the question. Like, what does it represent? It's somebody, human cannonball. So you shot out of a cannon, basically. All right. And what is on the x-axis? What variable? T, which is time. What's on the y-axis? Height. Okay. So we got height and time. Why does it make no sense for me to continue the graph down here? Yeah. You're basically hitting the ground, right? This is your height of 0. This is when you hit the ground. Why does it make sense to not continue this graph into this area here? Well, this is in direction. What is the value of time at this point? So if I go this way, what is the value of time? Negative. Can you have negative time? No. So that's why we cut it off at those points. Okay? What is the height of the cannon above the ground? I.e., what's the initial height that they take off at? Look at the graph. What's the initial height that they take off at? 12. That's right. It's where you start at. 12. I don't know. What are the units here? 12. Is it meters? Yeah. 12 meters. All right. So the initial height is 12 meters. Okay. What's the maximum height? What part of the graph represents the maximum height? This highest part here. To get that, if you go to your graph and you actually click on it, it will tell you 321. What does the 3 represent? It represents the x because they're written as x and y. So what does x represent? Time. So what does 21 represent? The height. So what that means is, so this point here is 321. So that means when time is 3, you're at a height of 21 meters. So his maximum height is 21 meters. So the next part of the question, how many seconds does it take him to reach, or them, or whoever they are, to reach the highest point? 3 seconds. G, how long does it take before they land on the mat? When do they hit the ground? 7.6, your x-intercept. We're not going to do h. We're not going to do that. All right, domain and range. Tell me the domain and range of this graph, please. What's the domain going to be? Are we ready? There's your domain and range. 0 to 7.6 is domain. The range is 0 to 21. Okay, I'm scared to ask you to do this, but I'm going to attempt it. Number 3, please. So you're going to do this question.